Again, it's Iain at RTO. Welcome to Classic Albums. And today we have got a little bit of a classic. It's an album that came out in the year that I was born. Because it's my birthday this week, so I thought I would do something from 1966. And I decided to do Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. It was the 11th album by the Beach Boys. It was released in May 1966, so a little bit before I was born, because I was born October the 9th. But it was initially met with a lukewarm critical and commercial response in the United States. They are a fickle lot, really. It peaked at number 10 on the Billboard's LP chart, and when it got released here in the UK, it did a little bit better. It got to number 2, the top 40 album charts, and remained in the top 10 for 6 months. It's funny that an American band has more success in over here. I'm trying to think of bands from the UK that have had better success in America. There's one or two. I know Def Leppard had a bit of it. Paramania had a bit more success in America than it did here. But I can't think of any other bands. But there's quite a few bands from America that have really done well over here than what they have in their own country. It was promoted as their most progressive pop album ever. It was garnered with recognition for its ambitious production, that's about right, sophisticated music and emotional lyric content. And it is considered one of the most influential albums in the music business. Yes, I can see that. There are some great arrangements on this. The album was produced and arranged and composed entirely by Brian Wilson, with a guest lyricist called Tony Asher. Recorded between January and April 1966, a year after Wilson had quit touring with his bandmates, his goal was to create the greatest rock album made ever. Well, I think the jury's still out on that. The band, though, featured that classic lineup: Al Jardine on the vocals, Bruce Johnson on the vocals, Mike Love vocals, Brian Wilson, Carl Wilson on guitars, Dennis Wilson on the drums, and you've got lots of guests. You've got Tony Asher, who plucked piano strings in You Still Believe Me. Woo! Steve Kortoff played a tambourine, that'd be me. Tony Melcher plays a tambourine. Marilyn Wilson additional vocals in one of the songs, and then it's got Tony, surname unknown, on tambourine on Sloop John B. Sorry, but yeah, just because you play a tambourine, you get a credit on an album. Fair play. So if there's any band out there that wants a tambourine player, email me and I'll come and play tambourine just to get my sixpenneth on the album. Anyway, let's get down to business. Let's have a look at this album. First track, of course, Wouldn't It Be Nice? Great track. Love this track. Very uplifting. Remember seeing them play this at Live Aid. It was pretty cool. Love that track. Still do to this day. One of my favourite tracks by the Beach Boys. Second track, You Still Believe in Me. This is one of the nicer, gentle tracks on the album, but it has got some of the nice, beautiful harmonies which one thing we know the Beach Boys were good at were their harmonies. I'd say they're probably the best in the business, actually. They really, their voices complemented each other, and this is a nice little song. Then we've got That's Not Me, classic 60s sound, classic sound of the Beach Boys, very, very good track. Don't Talk, Put Your Head on My Shoulder. This is okay. It's a little bit sloppy doppy for me. It is Get the Bucket Out. So it's never been one of my favourite tracks by the Beach Boys. I'm Waiting for the Day. Again, very solid. It's that Beach Boys sound that we've all come to like and part of our history. Again, this band is part of me because of my dad. He listened to the Beach Boys a lot. Remember him getting one of the compilation albums. That's all I've got is compilation albums, apart from this one. But I still enjoy listening to their music. Yeah, Let's Go Away for a While. This is an instrumental track, and this is where you see the little bit of progressive rock before progressive rock had ever been invented. It is very different. It was bold, but it's a nice arrangement. Then we get a really good song. A lot of people don't like this one, but I do. It's Sloop John B. Obviously, this is an arranged version of a traditional Caribbean song that Al Jardine had learnt from his listening to the Kingston Trio. This version is nothing like the original, but it's blended with rock, marching bands, instrumentation, the use of flutes, glockenspiels, saxophones, the baritone saxophone, bass guitar. Now, Jardine said he liked the result. Listen, it sounded something that John Philip Sousa would do, marching band, Liberty Bell and all that. And it is a great version, and I've got quite fond memories of this. Drinking in one of the pubs when I lived out in the sticks. A friend of one of the guys, his brother came to stay for the weekend, and he was a bit of a musician, so he brought his guitar in, and we all ended up singing songs, and this is one of the songs we ended up singing. It was all doing backing vocals, and it sounded actually quite good. So I've got a lot of fond memories of that song. Then we flip to side 2. Opening track on side 2 is God Only Knows. Lovely song by the Beach Boys, and it always now reminds me of the closing of the film Love Actually, because they used this bit of music whenever at the end, and it fitted into the scene of that movie at the end. Everyone's sort of all in love and loved up, and generally having a good time with each other, and I think it was a great way to end that film, and I love that track. I Know There's an Answer. Oh, this has got such a catchy hook line. When you play this, you can't get it out of your head. I mean, when I played this over the weekend just to refresh myself with it, and I finished listening to it, cracked on, and I was doing something else, and there was me in my head was this track. Every time I put it on I can't get it out of my head. But I like the track, it's very good. Here Today, just another of them solid 60 sounding records. Great production on this, really good. The next track, I Wasn't Made for These Times. It's okay. It's not my favourite track on the album, but it's still good. And then we get the brilliant Pet Sounds. Again, this was above it. It was ahead of its time. It just was different, totally different. And I think this is where I think a lot of people get get their influences and inspirations from, especially with prog rock bands. I think this is I would credit this as the beginning of prog rock. It was the first thing that was totally out there, weird, wonderful, and it is a really good little track. Then we get the worst track on the album, Caroline. No, I think this just seems to fade out into nothing really. It just meanders along and it doesn't go anywhere. I think it was a bit of a filler for me, and it's okay. So let's sum the album up. This album is quite progressive in places, a little bit different. I wouldn't say it was the greatest pop album ever made, but I would say it was I think it was about 2 or 3 years before its time. And I think that's why it didn't get, when it was first released in America, they weren't ready for this. But over here, we were sort of ready for it. I mean, the Americans are, as I said, I love America. I've met some really nice American people. And I like watching people, people on the channels that are from America. Great people, and they've got a great. But there's a certain people that just are very fickle about their music. I do like the instrumentals on this album as well. They are pretty unique. So for that reason, I shall give it an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, time to do some editing. I think I've done these 2 shows back to back. So a bit of editing up on the channel, and then get ready for tomorrow. And tomorrow we just have a look at the scoreboard. Okay, tomorrow ranking a band from Ireland called Glider. I discovered these whilst doing the Mark Wilkinson artwork, and I thought, oh, I like the cover of that. Let's give it a listen. I thought, oh, these are good. So I put them into my library on Spotify, and I've been listening to them, and I thought, right, time to rank them, give them a bit of love. So that's what we're going to do. And tomorrow's retro ranking is what I call one of my guilty pleasure bands. It's probably because of when I grew up. It's ABBA tomorrow. Yeah, I do like ABBA songs. I don't know anyone that doesn't like ABBA. I'm doing it as well because they've got that new album coming out soon, which we will be reviewing, but I think we'll put it up against all their other albums, so we will be having a ABBA ranking day at some stage, probably after I've moved. So I've got a move coming up, so the place is all over the place. So and I've got some news about that on Thursday for you, something that I'll be doing while I'm moving. So I will say goodbye for now, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.